What is going on, guys? Us with Con 60. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Today, I'm going to be sharing the new car that I'm bringing to the channel. You guys wouldn't guess it, something totally different. I think this is a car that has been severely underrated, severely misunderstood, and I think it follows a similar journey of where bloggers, vloggers, you name it, writers, all the things, they have mistaken what this car is about. Guys, let me introduce you to my 2022 Subaru WRX. And I know there's a lot of hate for this car, especially when it comes to the looks of it. And guys, I was one of those people. Online, on pictures, it didn't do it justice. Several months ago, I walked into a Subaru dealership and they had a WRX, drove one, looked at one. All right, guys, so I took a test drive with the WRX. Honestly, this car is fun, and I get why they did the motor the way that they did and they didn't roll out the STI. This car with the programming and the horsepower and the torque curve, it really almost seems just as fast as an STI. I think these cars look better in the darker color, like the gray or the black, because it kind of minimizes the plastic cladding. I don't mind the sides. The back is just what's always kind of been tough for me. Let me know what you guys think, but I didn't drive this one. I drove a base one that was black, but man, I was actually really impressed. The thing that Subaru does so well are their shifters. From a manual perspective, it just is so smooth and so fun to shift. This is a car I'm considering, believe it or not. Actually quite impressed with this. I'll share with you guys kind of buying process and other cars that I considered before I settled on the WRX, but in person, these cars look great, and in the right color. You know, I have the magnetite gray. I think it hides a lot of the plastic cladding. What a lot of people have issues with is a plastic cladding on the bumper, around the wheel wells, and I'll share a lot more of that with you guys, but I want to focus on just this car, why I bought it, and why I think it's misunderstood, and why I'm so excited to hopefully correct some misconceptions out there, but bring you guys some amazing content around the WRX. So 2022, yes, not a 2023. This car is brand new. I got it here in Utah, and you know, they haven't released the 2023s. The order banks and everything, you can start to get them. I'm sure they're starting to come in now, but the 2022s, that is what I had an option to get. I got the color I wanted. I got all the options I wanted. This wasn't a car that I ordered specifically for them. A couple deals fell through at some other local dealerships for some different cars that we'll talk about in a different video. But this one came about and it had every single thing spec'd to exactly how I wanted this car, and it was meant to be. So, you know, WRXs and Subarus, I've always wanted one. I've always wanted an STI. I have. Now, with this generation, they didn't come out with an STI. They're waiting to hopefully they don't. They are waiting to electrify the WRX STI, supposedly. My plan, year back, was to either look at the Type R, the Honda Civic Type R, or get the new STI. And when Subaru released the WRX, it was a disappointment for a lot, because they read exactly what it was. They read the horsepower. They didn't see a lot of changes to it, but there's a lot of changes with this car that I'm excited to share with you guys. So I've always loved Subarus. I've always wanted one. The reason I haven't pulled the trigger on one is if you're buying an STI used because you can't buy them new anymore, It is a mystery. People modify these cars the second they get off the showroom floor, and you have no idea what somebody else did to them. A lot of Subarus, they can be unreliable with tuning, and people pushing these cars and not doing proper maintenance on them is huge. And so I've always wanted one, and where I first fell in love with Subaru was like back in 2005. A guy I worked with, he had a Impreza WRX. I love the massive like hood scoops. I think it's awesome that they still do that, just kind of the massive hood scoop on the front. I think it looks so good. But he had put a blow-off valve on it, and he gave me a ride in that thing, and just to hear the sound every time he shifted, ever since then I've been hooked, and I've always wanted one. But when this car originally came out, I didn't like the looks of it, wasn't super excited about it, but I saw it in person, and especially I drove it, and I was blown away. So this car, 271 horsepower, 250-ish pound-feet of torque, and a lot of people are upset about this car because it only has 3 horsepower more than the outgoing V8 chassis. This is the VB chassis, and people are really upset about that. But what Subaru did, guys, one of the challenges I've had with WRXs, STIs, and everything else in the past is the tuning of them. They're horrendous. I understand why people tune them, because you'll have no power, a lot of power, no power. It's just, they're tuned. I can't remember. I think it was Savage Geese. They said this car feels like it was tuned by a kid in high school, you know, and it's true. They didn't tune them right. Very, you know, finicky, but they're very mechanical cars. They're very satisfying cars. But what's crazy about this, and we'll jump into a lot of these details in future videos. So one of the awesome things that Subaru did about this car is they lowered the PSI for the turbo. This is a twin scroll turbo. I believe it's a Garrett turbo. They have an electronic wastegate on this. There's a lot of other things that they beefed up around this car, but this car is going to roughly be around 12 to 13 PSI. Previous generations, I believe, was well north of 15. So less stress on the engine. You have bigger displacement. So the WRX moved from a 2.0 liter to a 2.4 liter. And guys, I'm telling you, this car is a blast to drive. But before, you know, I dive into all the differences and kind of everything else about it and what Subaru changed, we'll save that for some future videos. Let me just show you guys around the car a little bit, and then we'll bring you some more videos on this. All right, so this is the inside of the car, and this at night looks awesome. Just kind of like a huge tablet screen. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this, I thought it didn't look very good. I was like, man, that is massive. The base model has like this bar that kind of goes across the top, so you have like one screen up here, one screen down there. But guys, I am telling you, this looks sweet. And I wouldn't dare say this about a WRX, but they really made it look a lot nicer in here. It feels a lot, I don't know if luxurious is the right way, but it feels more premium, I think is the better way to say it. You guys can see here, 422 miles on it. The inside, I'll cover specs and everything. Obviously, I got the Harman Kardon. This is the premium, so cloth seats. I will say, these heated seats, man, they will give your bottom a sunburn. Like, these things work, and it's awesome. I haven't had any issues with the touchscreen. That is some things that people have had issues with, but the touchscreen's been really responsive. It's been great so far. So obviously with these cars, you know, there's a lot of different cool features that they have that I'll cover with you guys. But at the end of the day, this is my premium manual. Guys, I had to go back to a manual WRX. So all-weather floor mats, so many different things to cover with you guys. But I have all-wheel drive in the wintertime in Utah. I love kind of the boost gauge right there. I think that's awesome. What's really cool about this car is it'll still remember your peak boost, and it'll also remember your temperature. It'll remember if your seat heater is on. If like I turned off the car, my passenger heat seater was on and it stayed on. So a lot of cool, unique things about this car. But Subaru did a really, really good job with it. So, you know, now I have more space to haul the kiddos around, and just overall super, super pumped about this car. So with the premium package, definitely got the sunroof, upgraded Harman Kardon sound system, and several other goodies that we'll cover with you guys. But driving this car is a blast. The exhaust on the car, I'll try and share with you guys kind of an exhaust clip, but the exhaust on this car, it actually sounds pretty good for a stock muffler on it, but I am gonna be installing an axle back exhaust. know the plans for this car yet. I don't know how much I'm going to modify the engine. I really want to tune it. Drunk Man Tuning has some tunes out for it. Cobb has released their tune out for it. I'll be honest, guys, never tuned a car before, so I'm a little bit leery of doing that. Everything that I'm seeing so far is this car is built to take more abuse, and I think Subaru fixed a lot of the issues that had plagued previous models. And I apologize, I'm not outside filming this, guys. It is extremely windy, and one of my biggest pet peeves are when YouTubers are filming stuff outside and it is like gale force winds. So bought this from Mark Miller Subaru here in Utah. Got it for under MSRP, had a great experience that I want to share with you guys in another video. But in true Gone in 60 fashion, noticed some damages with the car that they're gonna fix. Let me show it with you guys. I don't know if you guys just don't notice the damage on your car or if I'm just cursed, but let me show you. So underneath here, you can tell from transport, and I'm sorry, my car's a little dirty. It scraped all the way back there. It scraped all the way back there. So they're actually gonna have to replace this bumper for me. Yeah, and this is the plastic cladding that everybody kind of throws a fit about. What's interesting is Subaru says these honeycomb patterns causes it to be more aerodynamic, but I don't buy it. But yeah, just kind of standard. The brakes on this car, we'll talk about it, but not as good as some of the other cars. But overall, the car feels extremely stable. But guys, driving the car, turbo feels very responsive. But overall, had an amazing car dealership experience. I've tried buying a lot of cars, and I'll share with you guys all those different cars. But let me know what you guys think. You guys excited for this car? What do you guys think about the 22 WRX? What content would you like me to film? I'm getting the car tinted next week, and then I'm starting to plan my mod list for it. But super pumped, guys. I have actually really loved this car. I've only had it for about 400 miles, had it for about a few weeks now, but I'm super pumped. Let me know what you guys think below. We will catch you on the next video.